Okay, now we're going to talk about the story.
Okay.
Can you describe what happened in the story?
Well, there was in 1904, most people were riding horse carriages, but then a man with a last name Ford, he created something that didn't need a horse, and Ethan's father bought it. It was called the automobile, and it was a horseless car. It was probably one of the first cars ever invented. And at first Ethan was embarrassed, but then when he took it for a ride, he had lots of fun.
Okay, fantastic. Why do you think that Ethan was embarrassed?
Because it was making a lot of clatter and noise, waking everyone up. And it was his dad driving it and causing all the racket.
Okay. And why do you think that people made fun of automobiles?
Because people didn't know about automobiles much, and they were used to having horses because they've been riding horses for hundreds of years.
Okay, good. Sometimes when new things are invented, people don't really
Believe in them.
Yeah. Some people struggle with change, don't they?
Mm-hmm.
How do you think that Ethan's dad felt about people making fun of him?
His dad didn't really. In the book, his dad ignored them because he felt like it didn't matter what they said or felt about the thing. What mattered was what he thought about it and what he felt like in it.
Yeah, great. And what else was Ethan really worried about?
His old horse was aging, and he said that are they going to sell him? But the dad said no, the horse was part of their family.
Okay.
Horseless chariot or no horseless chariot, it would stay there.
That's nice, isn't it? Can you explain the meaning of the title of the story?
Get a horse. It was named that because everyone down the street was yelling, "Get a horse! Get a horse!" to Ethan's dad because they didn't like all the clatter and racket that it was making.
Okay, very good. How did the author tell you that 1904 was different from today? Can you give me an example from the book?
Well,
you can open the book and have a look.
Well, the cars and how they got around back then were very different to ours.
Can you find an example from the story?
Have
a little skim through and find a point in the story that's an example of how the author tells us that 1904 was different from today.
Well, it had like in 1904, the only cars back then were little chariots and wagons, but now we've got big, heavy electric cars that are very modern.
Yeah. Can you find an example in the story of what the author writes that gives you that information?
Because he said it was in 1904. And it said that in the story, this man called Ford, that was the start of four-wheel drive.
Come on, find an example in the book, Ollie.
Yeah, and then back then he thought 20 miles per hour was fast, but now we think 100 kilometers an hour is fast.
Okay. Very good. Any other examples? From the text? That's a good example.
The chariots were louder than cars are today because the chariot is bumpy and has a big exhaust, has an exhaust that does little explosion like every few feet.
Does it say that in there?
Mm-hmm.
Where?
It says that it's got an exhaust doing little explosions.
Where does it say that?
It said at the front, and there's a bunch of people yelling, a horse were running on the street, and explosions, and then there was every few feet. The exhaust was making one of its explosions every few feet, but in our day, the cars run more smoothly, and you only hear noise if it's going down a bumpy road, like an off-track road, or if it's accelerating.
Okay, good one. Thanks so much for chatting to me about the story, Ollie.